Good morning. Hello, Linda, my Michigan buddy. And Di is here. Good morning, Di. From, okay, she is here from a sunny Southern California. She says that they should hit the low 80s today. And hard to believe that just 2 years ago they had snow. Oh, Di, I get it. I get it. We've had snow. It's pretty much gone now. And our big snow month is March. So I would expect that we're going to get more eventually. But this morning, it's just foggy outside. It's warm for the UP. It's warm. And we're just going to take what we can get as long as we can. All right, there we go. My little one there. Good morning. Ronnie is here from northeastern Arizona. I'm glad to see you this morning. Today we're going to do some things that you have probably never seen done before. We're going to start this morning with the Starry Nights. Remember, we're working backwards in the alphabet. And so that is where we are at right now, is the Starry Nights. And I'm going to use the 3 different moons this morning to make some designs that are going to look quite unique. I think it's the best word for it. In the meantime, Joyce is here from Mesa. Good morning, Joyce. And good morning, Jan. Yeah, my sound is funny. Hang on a minute. Okay, there we go. Is this better? I want to make sure. My the sound is strange and you're talking super fast. It's better, much better. Okay, good. I don't understand what's going on with this thing. I paid so much money for it. It's irritating. So anyway, Lee, good morning from Indiana. And we are back with everything working. So this morning we're going to work with the moons. And what we're going to do is we're going to start with a design with the new moon. Okay. The new moon comes in 4 different sizes. It comes in a 2-inch, 1.5 inch, and a 1-inch, along with the big mama 2.5 inch. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to set that up. And this is the design we're going to make. Weird. Good morning, Nancy. Good to see you. Carla's here as well from Oklahoma City, and Gianna from Prineville, Oregon. Aaron says the sound is great. Thank you, Aaron. I appreciate that. Now, when I looked at this, I see a couple different things. Kind of curious what you see in there. Hey, good morning. And Lori's here from Grand Rapids, another Michigander. Awesome. Nan, good afternoon to you. It's 3 o'clock in Sweden. So their day is just getting almost done. So Linda sees a spider, and you know what? I didn't see the spider till this morning. What I saw in it yesterday when I was doing it, Lee said a blossoming bud. What I saw was a thistle. A thistle is a flower that we have up here. They're very pretty. They're purple, but you don't want to touch them because they are wicked. Okay, that's enough to be enough. So this is the first one we're going to start with. And I'm going to use my 2.5 inch new moon, and I'm going to use 16 reference lines. We're not going to use all 16, but I'm going to do them anyway. enough. You go lay down. Enough. No. All right, so here we go. I'm going to get this up in the corner or in the center, I mean. This one is going to be a little bit of a challenge. And the reason I'm saying that is not because of the design, but because of the fact that we have a lot of seams meeting here. There we go. That sure was a long tail. So what I'm going to do is we're going to take it pretty slow on this one. And I'm going to turn it around so you can see it better. Okay. Now what I'm doing is I am just getting my thread, or at least trying, and I am lining this new moon up from the bottom corner to the top corner. What you're going to see, um, Linda knows what a thistle is. Yes. Lee says it's funny how different people see different things. You're absolutely right, Lee. None of our minds work the same. And that's probably a good thing. At least for me, it is. Thistle is a weed, Erin said. And yeah, they can be a weed, but they are pretty. Grandma always had them in her garden. So I'm going to go ahead and I am going to come up here and do just the inside. And I'm going to stop at the top. I'm going to come back and I'm going to go ahead and trim my threads off because there's going to be a lot of stitching in that center, and it is going to definitely tie those threads in, and I'm going to come back down. I'm going to do this a half of a design at a time. Now there I am. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go ahead and tilt this, tilt the template until this line, this reference line, and this is reference line number 1. So this is reference line number 16. I'm just going backwards. You could go either way. I'm going to line that reference line up with the next line. Okay. Oh, I almost made a goof there. There we go. So here's our next line. And I am going to stitch this one out. And I'm going to stop right there because as you can see, I've hit a large seam allowance there. Hold that down. Help. That will help. We're going to go over the top. I'm going to go ahead and drop it back down. And I'm coming out to that reference line 16 and back to the center. Take it nice and easy. When you've got a lot of seam allowances to get over, take your time. I think that's probably the most important thing, is to just take your time with it. Now I'm going to be going over quite a large one here, and you can help it along using your stiletto and holding it down a little bit. That will help push that across, and you'll see how nicely that worked. Put my foot back down, and out we're going to go, and back to the center. And nice. And coming back over it the second time is not quite as bad because the first line of stitching has pushed that seam allowance down. I'm going to do another one and try and get this out of the way. There we go. Making sure I'm lined up again. Remember when we're holding our templates, we don't want to be holding them so tight that they won't move on our glider. But we want to make sure that we're holding them tight enough that our fabric is going to move with them. Okay, going to go ahead and straighten that one up a little bit. With that foot, I want to go ahead and drop it again so I don't get a lot of skip stitches. And what you can see is this does not really take that long. And the longer you work doing this, the easier that adjustment is going to be. All right, I'm going to come in now. And I'm missing all of those seam allowances, or almost. You see, I've got the one going from the orange to the navy blue. There we go. And I'm going to do one more. That is all. And the reason I stop here is because it's going to now come over. Let me see. Yep, it's going to come over this, but not touching the vertical line. There we go. Very nice. We're going to come up. A lot of seam allowance there, but it came through like a trooper. Awesome. Now what I'm going to do is I'm back at center. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take my template out. Here we go. Now I'm going to flip it over, but what I want to make sure is that I've got staple tape on both sides. And on this one, I didn't. So, okay, let's see who else is here. Carla agrees. We have them, the thistle is what we were talking about in Oklahoma, and pretty, just don't touch it. And you're absolutely right. Good morning, Kathy from Divine, Texas. So good to see you. And Karen, oh, isn't this the truth? Hello from Missouri last week, 0 degrees, today 70. Does anyone know, does the weather know what it wants? Not really. Good morning, Donna. So nice to see you from North Carolina. And Jackie Coleman Arnold is here from Maryland. And Evelyn, my friend, has made it from New Haven. Audrey is here from Loudon, Tennessee. Awesome. So here we go. We're going to get some of these staple tapes so I can flip this template over and stitch without the fear of it slipping and sliding like an ice storm in January. Okay. They did have one north of us. We did not get warm enough to get the ice. I'm not complaining. I'd much rather have snow than ice. Ugh, those ice storms can be wicked in the winter. So now that I've flipped it over, we're going to repeat what we just did on the opposite side of our vertical center line. And here you can see I've got quite a hefty seam allowance to go over. So I'm going to loosen my foot. Oh, I loosened it too much. I'm going to come over it nice and easy, steady and slow. Maybe that's a little too slow. Okay. And come up to my center, my vertical center. What it's going to do is it's going to join that first rotation we put in, and that's going to give us that look of a bud. Okay, nice and slow and easy. Now we're back to center. Our seams should not get too bad, so I'm going to go ahead, lower that foot back down, and again, I am lining up this edge with this reference line right here. And I am only stitching the inside of the templates. And here we've got another kind of large seam that we need to go over. And there we go. Nice and slow. As long as you take your time, this is going to work out beautiful. Now, when we come back, remember that seam is already kind of crushed down, but the areas on the side of it have not been, here and here. So you may have to do another lifting of that foot, but you may not. You see, I didn't have to. So I'm going to come here. I'm going to line up again. And we're going to continue doing this until we hit that reference line that just grazes the vertical center. And back we're going to go. And we've come just over that seam line without any problems whatsoever. Somebody out there is probably thinking, isn't it easier just to do it on a sample square? Yes, it is. It's a whole lot easier, I'm telling you. Trust me on that one. But it's not reality. In reality, when we're working with our templates, I hope that we're working on a finished quilt. And if we have a finished quilt, we have seam allowances to contend with. What my goal is here is to show you how to navigate those seam allowances successively. You can do it successfully. Yeah. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. Oh, but as we continue, here's another seam allowance, but it's not that big. It's just 2. I do use seam when I press. I do not iron, I press. I also use the tailor's clapper to make sure that I get everything really flat. It works great. Now, I know there are some people who don't believe in using steam in their iron, and that's fine. You don't have to if you don't want to. Another way to do it without using water in your iron, because we all know that that water can spit at us in the future, and it usually will, is to go ahead and just keep a spray bottle with water in it and just mist the top of your quilt, and you will be fine. You will get the same effects. So here this is sewn in. Okay, kind of fun, right? Kind of fun. Um, let's take a look back. Donna makes a point here. Sorry. Donna says, watching you cutting the staple tape, I never thought to just pull back the paper before I cut. I challenged myself to pull it off after cutting the square. And that is a lot more difficult, Donna. I agree with you. I don't know where I learned that trick, but man alive, I sure am glad I did. Well, Jean is here from PA, and we'll have to watch later because she's babysitting their granddaughter today. How lucky are you, Jean? Welcome. I'm glad you stopped by. Okay. Enjoy that granddaughter. They're so fun. Susie is here. She says, sorry to be late. She got back from vacation late last night and had to sleep in. Well, that's perfect excuse, Susie. Absolutely no problem. Patsy's here from New Mexico. Welcome. And Donna says, definitely a spider. So this is what it looks like with I think, a good contrasting thread. But I want to show you the back because I set it up so it's a real contrast. And there we go. That is the design. So our second one this morning that we're going to do, let me get it out here. We're going to use a different moon for this one. Okay. Would you guess that that's a moon or this is a moon? I mean, these are awesome. You're right, Lee. Lee says that design would look great in a corner or a cornerstone. And you're absolutely right because you could put them all out. So if you're doing the corner, what you could do with it is, here's our corner. It's coming this, we've got the square, say this way, and you could have this point to the corner of the quilt, the outside corner. And so you're actually going to be stitching it on point on the block. But I think that would look really, really pretty. And I apologize for anybody who sees a spider in it because spiders are never fun, although they don't bother me. I had a friend though who was terrified of spiders. Couldn't believe it. Big burly guy, totally terrified of spiders. Of course, my husband is terrified of snakes too. So, neither one of those things bother me that much. All right. Donna said full moon on the next one. Donna, that's a really good guess, but it is actually the eclipse. Can you believe that it's this one? And the eclipse also comes in 4 sizes. We've got the big 2.5 inch. Then we have the 2 inch. And you see how they're very easily flipped over to make them go in either direction. And then here I've got the 1.5 inch and here the 1 inch. I don't know if you guys remember this, but it is something that I find totally helpful. And whoever thought of it is an absolute genius. Okay. You see that I've got the inside here of this template is green. The inside of this template is red. The inside of this template is black. And the inside of this template is blue. When we did that for the Starry Night. And what that did was gave us a really awesome visual representation of the pattern when we were working with it. And it really did help to keep you using the correct template. In other words, not putting a 2.5 inch in a spot where it called for the 2 inch. Some of my other templates, I've actually done this too. I think I've done them to the hearts. I'm going to do them to the circles when we get to them. I just think it's a great visualization. I believe that the key to this, however, is to make sure that you stay consistent with all the templates. So, for example, if I've got a simple circle, 2.5 inch, I'm going to make sure that the inside is blue. When I have the 2 inch, it'll be black, and the 1.5 inch red, and the 1 inch green, and so forth and so on. And quite honestly, what these are, I just used a Sharpie and I just ran it around the inside like this, let it dry before I use it. And that's all there is to making these color coded. So I think, okay, Linda said she thinks it was Leonie West suggested in the book that we color code that. And I think you're right, Linda. I recall that. The color coding, I think, is absolutely awesome. Diana, good morning from Bermuda. So nice to see you. So I just wanted to kind of review that because not everybody did the Starry Night, so not everybody is aware of actually being able to color code your tablets. And on this, we are going to use our 2 inch, which is black, and we are going to use 8 reference lines. I drew out 16, not really sure why, but I did. So what we are going to do, let's take a look at this. How does this work? So what I did was I lined up, there we go. I did one complete rotation. Then I came over to number, if, okay, I've got 16 reference lines, so I'm going to use the correct number. Okay. I did 1, then came to 3, and yeah, came to 3 and did another one. No, I didn't. 1. Okay, so there's my first one, and I can see it in here. And then came to 3. Well, I was back here. Come up here. Let's try this way. Here's number 1. I went from this up here and back to here. Oh my goodness, guys, this is weird. This is absolutely weird. I don't remember exactly what I did. Okay. 1, it's 4. Okay, now I know what I did. All right. Wow. Isn't that weird? And then I switched it over and came back. So on the 4 reference lines, 1, 5, 9, and 13, I had my template this way. So let's go ahead and do that. I only stitched from the center all the way out and back to the center. Okay, here we go. I think this one is pretty. I really, really like this one. I hope I'm stitching it out correctly. Isn't that funny? You do something and just one day later, you don't remember exactly what you did. Okay, so we're going to come here. No, actually, we are going to come all the way around. Yep, we're going to come all the way around. Got a little bit of a toe catcher there. Took off a little too quick. And my foot is just a tad high, so I'm going to put it back down. See how easily it made it over that seam line? Get rid of that thread and stop right here again where we started. I am now going to turn it a 90 degrees, and we're going to do this again. Take your time. Remember, we've got seam lines here that we're going over. And there we go. And back to the center. Needle down. I'm going to turn the fabric. And remember, you want to learn how to go ahead and stitch in every direction. Because if this were a large quilt, I wouldn't have the ability to turn it around like I do the block. So it's important. And there I had a little bit of a seam, came over it without a problem. Remember, on curvy designs, I like to put my stitch length down a little bit. Now, we had a discussion last night, and there are sewing machines. I think Ken brought up the question. There are sewing machines which will auto adjust the foot so that you can get over those seam allowances. As you can see, I don't. And you know what? It's really not that big of a deal for me. I find that just being cautious or being thorough with the oh, it's a seam line. I thought it was my thread, guys. With the seams, when I'm taking care of them, I don't have to worry too much. Now, I'm going to take this out at this point. And the reason I'm going to take it out at this point is because this is another cool design. If you want to do something very simple, there it is. I really love using this. The design. Hi, Barbara. Barbara's here from England, I'm sorry, Great Britain today. Ellen, good morning from Delaware. NSEW. Donna, I'm not sure what it looks like to me like you did and north, south, east, and west. Yeah, that's exactly what I did. North, south, east, and west here. And this is just the beginning of it, but it's pretty in and of itself. Oops, a little bit of caffeine spill there, guys. Oh, good thing I don't keep this near my computer. All right. Now we're going to go on the 45-degree lines. And what we're going to do is we're flipping this over. So we're going to be going in the opposite direction. And here we go. Put that in there. I am going to, again, just start at the center. I'm going to stitch them the same way. I am using the center line to line up on my reference line. Only difference is I'm going in the opposite direction. So here we go. And around we go. We're going to make this a full rotation. I had some seam allowances to get over. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and lift my foot up and cut this thread out. There. I hate thread in the way. Now I'm coming to the next 45 degree, lining myself up. We're going to have some seam allowances here. Now, I like to talk about how these seam allowances sit and how we stitch. When we have a seam allowance, there's always a high side and a low side. If it's at all possible, and we're only going to stitch over it once, I like it to be from the high side to the low side because it will be easier to fall off. This is the way I remember it. It's easier to fall off of a mountain than it is to climb the mountain. So here we're going to climb the mountain, then we're going to fall off of it. We're going to be doing both. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in this direction that allows me the largest area to get over this. And here we go. I'll get this right in the center. And nice and easy. I'm going to come in this direction first. And you'll see that one, absolutely no problem. I did not need to make any adjustments whatsoever. And over we go. Okay, I want to come back up here just a little bit. There we go. I was off just a hair from coming over there. And one more no, two more rotations. I'm sorry. Not one, two. Okay, lining myself up. Again, I'm going to be climbing the hill on this side and falling off over here. These seams have been very accommodating for me with this design, and it is greatly appreciated. And we're going to come and meet that section right there, make a little petal. And in the center, making sure my needle is down. And this will be our last rotation on this design. And again, I'm going to climb the hill where I have the most free space within my template. And again, this just is not an issue. And around we're going to go. Now I need to make a little adjustment because I want to make sure that this corner ends up right at that previous rotation. This would have probably worked out much better had I not taken the template off or not taken it totally out like I did, cut it off and start it over again. But I wanted you to see how things were looking. There we go. And here is our little design. Again, this would make a nice cornerstone again. I love this design. I love how it came out. And when you look at it, you would hardly ever know that it is a moon. Right? Oh, Mary, hi from Oklahoma. And Travel with Kathy is in Texas this morning. Diana, oh, it's okay. You can always go back and look at the beginning um on the recorded. Good morning, Marcy from Spring, Texas. And okay, I think you guys are liking this. Awesome. So to answer the questions of which templates I'm using this morning, this is the Starry Night Eclipse 2-inch. And I am using the moons from the Starry Night this morning. Now I'm going to show you what we did here. This was our first design. And we use the new moon to make this design. Although we're very probably we're really evenly divided as to whether this is a thistle or a spider. Either way, it's a good design. I think I like it. And I don't say that just because I did it. I do think it is because it's different. And you guys know that I love different. And again, this would be hard. You'd be hard pressed to find a moon in here if you did not know where it was. So now the next one is going to be something that's a little bit different. It's not going to be a rotational design. It's going to be a design that will work really well on sashing. It will work really well on borders, and it is made with, let me pull it out. It is made with the new moon. So we're going to go back and pull our new moon out again. I didn't really do anything with the full moon simply because the full moon is circles and we do circles all the time. So anything that we've done with a circle, we can do again with that full moon. And there's a lot. There is a lot. Good to see you. Mary Agnes is here with us from Boston. Okay, I have a very, very good friend who came from Boston. All right, here is my halfway mark. And each of these is 2 3/4 inches apart. 1, 2, 3/4, 1, 2, and 3/4. They don't look even to me, but they are. They measure out even. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my 2-inch moon on this. Now you can use any size you want. This design will work with the 2.5 inch, the 2-inch. It will work with all of them. Okay. Here's our new moon. What you're going to see is I've put a line on here with a vis-a-vis marker for a past design. I don't need it anymore, so I'm just going to take a wet rag and I'm going to wash it off. And that is how easy these come off. Okay, there we go. Now it's gone. It's not going to confuse me. Gone. We are going to line up with this particular design the center horizontal line. And we're going to line it up in this direction. And all we need is a crosshair, 4 points, 4 reference lines. That's it. This is an easy one, guys. It's easy, but doesn't it look difficult? I mean, it really does. Di, thank you. She said border designs are always welcome. And this one is going to bring a lot of secondary design into it to make it look very complicated. It's really easy. There, I need my caffeine too, girls. Sorry. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pull this thread up in the center where my crosshairs meet. When I did this the first time, I did not have the lines set in place like this, and it was fine. As you can see, it came out perfectly okay. I just feel having those successive lines will make it easier. All righty. So I have my horizontal line lined up on my vertical center line for this rotation. We're going to go all the way around. And there we go. And on this one, I can go ahead and lower my foot because I have absolutely zero seam allowances to come over. Yay! Love it when that happens. There we go. We do not have to bury this center thread because we are going to be going over it several times. So it will, in fact, be stitched in adequately enough to lock it in and not ravel out. Every time I look at this, I see 3 more different things I could do with it. That is one of the things I absolutely love about these templates is they give you a plethora of options to use them. So here we go. And around we're going to come. Now this one you do have to do some breaking of your thread. But you know what? For the end result, I think it's worth it. I really, really do. And I suppose if we played with it long enough and hard enough, we would be able to figure out how we could travel over to the second design and each successive design. But you know what? I personally think it takes less time to break thread than it does to travel and get to the next rotation. So I'm going to go ahead and just break thread, guys. I don't really mind stitch or sewing those thread tails in. Once you get used to doing it, it goes very quickly. All right, and here we go. These are really easy designs that I'm showing you today. But they do trick the viewer and fool the eye into thinking they're extremely complex. They aren't. Okay, there we go. If you don't want to bury your threads, you could do what I just did. I took about 5 micro stitches there, and look at that. Is it cool or what? Lisa. Nice to see you this morning. Welcome. Yeah, isn't that cool? So there we've got the first one. And that first one, oh, that would be cute on point in a diamond. Oh, yeah, I'm thinking that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and again, I went 2 3/4 inches. The measurement between the first and the second will change if you use a different size template. The 2 3/4 inches is um, definitely for the 2-inch template. Okay, it's unique to that one. I'm going to go ahead and pull my thread up again in the center and come back down. I'm lining my horizontal center with my vertical center line here. And there we go. Again, I'm going to stop here and trim that thread. When I do that, I try to never let go of that template because if it moves, it can be challenging to get it back. I do like to take an extra stitch at the tip of this right here because we are making a point, and that extra stitch ensures that we are going to successfully make that point. Alrighty, so now I am coming with my horizontal center on my horizontal line. This is a very important one to make sure you get right. And the reason being is these tips are going to just about touch, okay? They're not going to touch perfectly, but they are going to come close. And you can see this with the spacing gauge, how close they're going to be. So here we go. This is our second rotation. Getting some secondary designs in here, which is really lots of fun. If you want those 2 points to meet perfectly, you would probably move your line over by about 1/8 of an inch. So instead of going 2 3/4, you would do 2 5/8 of an inch. And when I take this off, I will show you. Here we go. Let's go ahead and turn it around, lining up that horizontal line on the vertical center again. And we're going to do another rotation. All the way around, take that extra stitch on that point. And there we go. And this will be the last rotation on this motif. And one more time. I'm loving this. I'm loving the secondary designs that come out of this. Okay, so here I'm going to do that micro stitching again. Put that off. So now we've got 2. You see what's happening here? And this is the area that I'm talking about. If you move it over about 1/8 of an inch, I think these are going to just barely touch. Okay, let's do one more. Oh, Jean is here from Mount Vernon. Good morning, Jean. So good to see you. This morning we're working with the moons. the different moons from the Starry Night collection. And this design is a border design. And I am using the new moon 2-inch on it. And Di said border designs are always welcome. I am so glad. I kind of like doing border designs. Not all the time, but occasionally I do. It's when you're doing border designs, it's always a good idea to have staple tape on both sides of your template because many times you will be flipping it over. This is not one of them, though, okay, just so you know. There. And we're going to get that thread out of the way. I kept my needle down, which made that point nice and sharp. We're going to hesitate here, make one extra stitch. And you don't want to make a lot of extra stitches because if you do, what you're going to end up with is a ball of thread on the opposite side. So just go ahead, slow down a little bit. I have a few students that I've talked to over the years and have had to say, slow down. It's not a race. Take one extra stitch there, and we're going to come over, and we're going to come down and back around, and we're going to stop at the center again. And there's my center horizontal line. I'm lining it up on the vertical center. Extra stitch. When I get into this zone in my head, I'm listening to my machine, and my machine is going nice and steady and exactly how I want it to go for me. It is the point that I find is the easiest stitching for me. Once you learn that point on your machine, and for me, I don't have a speed control. So it is my foot controlling the speed. But once you find it and you get accustomed to it, what's going to happen is your stitch length is going to improve. And you're going to be able to relax your shoulders and your neck a little bit. When I was first learning, I can't tell you how many times I had to pry my neck out of my ears. It was not a pretty sight, not at all. But over time, that dissipated. And here is the design that we've got. And I'm going to show it to you from the back where it's easier to see. Isn't that cool, guys? I love it. Now we can make a little bit more embellishment on this if we want. And let me show you how I would do that. I would come and go ahead, come up on this dot here on this point. And this might be too much for some people, and that's okay. I didn't hit that point real well. There it is. Okay, got the point. Got this up. Got my thread. And put my needle back down. Now, what we're going to do is we are going to again line up our horizontal center on the vertical. And we can come like this. And I just touched my second point. Now I'm going to just stitch over to the next point. There we go. I'm going to put this back in. Line myself up again. And stitch to the next point, making sure my needle is down. We're just going to come across. My template back on, line up my horizontal center. Okay. I'm going to leave this in, and I'll show you why in a second. Now look at that. That is so cool, isn't it? It really adds something to it. Okay, we're going to embellish it just a little more now. Oh, for me, too much is never enough, right? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace this, and I am going to do the outside of the moon. There we go. Going to travel back. You obviously could do this whole thing. Oh, my foot just went loose on me. Okay, there we go. And lining it up again. We're going to do the outside. And coming to that point, and traveling along. There we go. And now we're going to finish up the smooth. Whoa. You see what happened there? I didn't realize I had a seam allowance and I did not do well on it. I didn't slow down. I ended up just making a straight line there. Okay. Well, as Kate would say, that's bonbon time. And I know that we talked about Kate's bonbon time, and I did contact her. She doesn't eat that many bonbons. I would say from the size of her, it's obvious she does not eat them. Okay, so there's a little more complicated. Okay. The cutout in the needle channel. Okay. Yeah, that is exactly what it can be used for. Your foot fits right in it, and you can go ahead and stitch in and out. Absolutely. That is, Joyce asked us that, and that is what it's for. Okay. Yep. Donna was able to answer Joyce. Gail makes a comment saying this would look good as an edge-to-edge design. And Gail, you are absolutely right. It would make a perfect edge-to-edge design. So This morning, we covered the new moon, the eclipse. We did not do the full moon because it's circles, and we all are very good at circles already. But of course, if you want more education on circles, it is out there. It really is. Um, it's 5 after. Do you guys want to see one more thing? And we're going to go ahead and do it with the new moon or the full moon, okay? And I'm going to use the 1 inch, and I'm going to change to a light colored thread because I'm going to do it on this dark piece of fabric here. All right. Now, this is just playtime. And I'm going to need to turn my light on to thread this needle. I apologize. I won't keep it on. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to line up, excuse me, I'm going to line up my 1 inch moon so that, there we go, so that a half a moon, oh, excuse me, I've got a frog in my throat here. So we're going to do a half moon border within the quilt. It's just, here's a piece of quilt. And up we're going to go, pulling that bobbin thread up. There we go. Sometimes it doesn't want to come up easily. And there we got everything lined up. And I am going to come in. Go ahead and split that thread. We're going to make 2 passes on this. Now you've all seen this before. Okay, just have circles here. I'm only going to do one edge though, so that we're not here too long this morning. Although I could stay and do this all day. Important to slow down before you get to the edge. Smaller stitches when making a circle. I'm going to make a partial circle here, and the circle is only going to go as far as that piece of fabric. Okay? Cute. So what I'm going to do next is I am going to travel down with this on. And I am going to line up my center here, keeping my vertical center. I'm going to line up where the 2 circles met. My horizontal center is going to remain the same. And now I need to travel up to get to the top of the template, and down we're going to go, stopping there. Now, the reason that I want to talk about this is because as you stitch, you're drawing that fabric in. So you may need to do adjusting here. And if you do, that's fine. Remember to always adjust at the highest point of a circle. My foot just came loose on me, guys. There we go. So I'm eyeballing this, and I've got it halfway. There we go. And we're going to do just a little more. These circles will be the same height. This is not a clamshell, although you could make a clamshell out of this. It would be absolutely easy to do. Okay, so now we're coming to the end, and I'm going to need to put a partial circle in here, but that isn't the problem. We're going to go ahead, we're going to go over, and all we're going to do is we are going to stop when we hit the edge of that fabric, that block. I think this is probably one of the sweetest borders that we can make. It's so simple, it's so easy, and yet it looks so elegant. So this is just one that I did want to show you and kind of show you that we can do something with the full moon as well. So that's what I have for you this morning. I hope that you've enjoyed it. Hopefully, we've sparked some imagination going on. That is always a good thing. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. It's important to us. And if you have any questions, you know how to get a hold of me. You can go on the sewtoday.com, look under the instructors, and my contact information is there. Please feel free to use it if you have questions. If there's particular template that you maybe are having trouble with, or you would like to see it demonstrated, please let me know. I'll be happy to do that on my YouTube channel. Well, Lee, thank you so much. Thank you. I'm glad that you love coming here because I love seeing you here. How do you like that? You guys are awesome. You really are. And I will be back next week. We are going to do some more artisan curves and some more Starry Night. And Carla, thank you. And you all have a great rest of your day as well. Until, oh, Di asked a question. Our Starry Tales next. I don't know if I'm going to put the star tails on with the stars, Di, or maybe I'll take 2 weeks to do the stars with the star tails on them. So just keep watch. It'll be you'll get word on what's going on. Okay? Thank you all for being here. Until we meet again, let's quilt.